We begin right now with civil rights attorney and leader Maya Wiley. She is chair of the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, and the former president for the National Organization of Women, Terry O'Neill. Welcome to both of you. Terry, your thoughts on where we are and what this does.
Well, the Supreme Court is now completely politicized. They have adopted and embraced a forced birth policy agenda. This applies to women as a class. So according to the Supreme Court majority, women as a class are now stripped of our ability to be full-fledged equal participants in this society, free and equal citizens of this country. That's women as a class. But what happens with this abortion ban is that it sweeps in also transgender individuals and gender nonconforming and non-binary individuals into it. And it is very much threatening the health and well-being of anyone who can get pregnant. Now, the politicization of the Supreme Court means something very interesting. My daughter, who's 31, mentioned to me this morning, she said, well, if the Supreme Court has shown us one thing today, it's that whatever they say is not final. And so, yes, the first thing we need to do is expand the court. We need to redress the balance. We have 3 justices who lied under oath in order to achieve their seats on the court. And so they need to be balanced out. We need to have 4 more seats on the court. We also need, obviously, to work harder than ever to elect progressive candidates in states that are not democracies. Right, because this Supreme Court majority, John Roberts has spent his entire career trying to stop Black people from voting, trying to destroy the Voting Rights Act, allowing Black people to vote. So we need to work as hard as we can to overcome the voter suppression that is taking over states where people are really, really at risk of losing their health and their lives because of this, because of the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
Maya?
Well, let's just say that what this will cost us as a nation is nothing short of freedom and liberty, the thing that's supposed to be so central to our democracy. And so I think Terry is right in this. And it's in its most basic form, the ability for us to make decisions over our own bodies and our own futures. And that implication is both a reality for so many Americans today, so many women, so many girls, so many people who are transgender. But let's be really explicit about this. This means that for the 17-year-old who finds out that she is pregnant, and this happened to a young woman in Texas, instead of being able to get the abortion she wanted so she could go on, live her life, go to college, she now has twins because she got pregnant 2 days before the Texas abortion ban was passed that would basically criminalize those who would help her make a decision about her life. We've got Black women in this country dying at 3 to 4 times the rate of white women in childbirth. And we have not addressed that as a nation. And yet, what we're going to do is going to make it harder for women who are low income, harder for women who are Black, harder for women who are living on reservations, harder for so many women who do not have the resources to pay to fly to a state that might give them the care they need, or to drive the hundreds of miles they might need to drive, or take the time off from their minimum wage job that will barely allows them to even pay the rent to go take care of their health care and their futures. We should remember that many of the women who make, and girls who make a decision to have an abortion may also be mothers, more than half. So that's why people like Janet Yellen also said that this is actually an impact also on our economy, on the very prosperity of the nation, as we've been wringing our hands over the number of women who've left the job market because they were struggling to take care of their families during COVID. So many of them, and some I know and spoke with here in New York City, who, even though they couldn't figure out how to pay their bills, had to stay home with their children. I mean, think about that as a society that's talking about freedom and liberty. And one of the most outrageous things about this is exactly as you said, Ari, which is this is saying that even though even though it was a fundamental right that this court, this Supreme Court that's charged with protecting fundamental rights, is not only going to take one away that we relied upon, it's going to sow doubt and actually raise very legitimate questions about whether or not it's going to continue to erode other fundamental rights. So it isn't just about the legitimacy of the court, it's about bastardizing the very purpose of this court, which is to protect it. And if I add one thing, you know, when the Supreme Court in the Casey decision, which it also basically overruled today, the Supreme Court said liberty finds no refuge in a jurisprudence of doubt. And all the Supreme Court has given us is deep and tremendous doubt about our liberty.
All very important points here. And as you say, this is where we're headed, because so much of this is being pulled out in the jurisprudence, and then everyone is left to doubt and wonder what comes after that.